Our first guest tonight is one hell of an actor with an Emmy and a Tony to show for it. You know him as Kendall Roy from Succession. Now he's getting more great reviews and a Golden Globe nomination for his role as Donald Trump's mentor in The Apprentice. Please say hello to Jeremy Strong. Thanks for being here. You look very Woody Allen tonight. You've got kind of the hat and the...
My Serpico hat.
Well, the audience doesn't know. Ryan Seacrest was supposed to be here. He got sick, and you happened to be in town. And we said, hey...
I was in town. I was in my hotel room.
Will you come by? And you came by. You saved the day. You really did. I'm very grateful to you for doing that. Unfortunately, I don't know if you know this, you now have to host New Year's Rockin' Eve. You have to take on all of Ryan's duties for the next Wheel of Fortune, his radio show, whatever the hell else he's doing. All you from now on. On Broadway, did you ever have like an emergency understudy situation?
Yeah. It was like 2008, and I was like 29, 30 years old, and I was broke, and I was living at a friend's hotel room up in the Berkshires, because I didn't have a place in New York. And I got a call saying, there's a play at the Public Theater, downtown New York. Can you go on tonight? And I'd never read the play, I'd never seen the play.
Wow.
But I knew the playwright, I was a fan. And I didn't have the money for the Metro North or whatever the train was to get me down from Williamstown, from the Berkshires to the city. So I said, if you can get my train ticket and pay for the cab when they drop me in front of the public, I'll be there. And you know, I went on with a book in my hand. Brian Dennehy and Aidan Quinn, David Strathairn were in the play. You know, it's like your nightmare.
Yeah,
it's like a nightmare.
I don't know why you would agree to do that.
Well, you know, Rilke said, surely all good art is the product of having been in danger. So sometimes you have to go to the danger.
Yeah, but who's Rilke?
You know. So I did, so I went on, and Ben Brantley was in the audience that night, and he mentioned me in the review. The New York Times was reviewing the play that night, and I got an agent, and it was actually a big moment.
You got a good review?
So I thought maybe if I go on your show tonight, you know, maybe...
You want another agent? I feel like you're covered representation-wise, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who are probably interested. Your birthday is on Christmas, right?
Yes.
Do you follow which celebrities you share birthdays with? Because I have it here. Jimmy Buffett, Justin Trudeau, Annie Lennox, and Jesus. And you. The five of you. Are you a birthday guy?
You know, there was a thing that somebody did. You can look up your primal astrological animal, and you can all do this if you look at go to primalastrology.com.
It's a real thing?
I looked up yours, yeah.
Oh, you looked up mine?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a salmon.
Are you really?
I mean...
What does that mean?
Denzel is a salmon.
Oh, Denzel is a salmon. Were you guys swimming upstream together?
Well,
What happens?
I guess the idea is, by the way, he's a hero of mine. You have like one purpose, and you swim upstream the whole time, and you get shredded and like, you know, torn apart, and you finally get there, you come to fruition, and you die. So that's kind of tracks. And you're a panda.
What? I'm a fat bear that does nothing? You're a panda.
I'm a panda for sure, yes. Yeah, for sure, yes. I am a panda, yeah.
Can I read this to you?
Yeah, yeah.
Pandas are surprisingly shy. They can be territorial loners who live in their own little world.
Uh-huh.
Can be hard for pandas to find the right social scene, but it's important that they try.
This all sounds right so far, honestly.
Keith Urban is a panda.
Keith is a panda?
By the way.
He's not having any trouble finding a social scene,
No.
though. Have you seen that panda? That's a handsome panda. Well, I didn't know I was a panda. I'm gonna have to start eating more bamboo. Hey, did you see, I was reading a story today about Rupert Murdoch's kids saw an episode of Succession. This is not one of these like kind of page 6 stories. This was in court.
Yeah, this was in Nevada. Yeah.
Oh, you know about it? Okay. Yeah. And what they got in a big fight because of the episode of the show.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
They instituted an emergency plan because of an episode of the show. Listen, I mean, I think, what it made me think was, I've been lucky to be part of a lot of films, and in that case, a television series that kind of speak to the world that we're in now. The Big Short, Trial of the Chicago 7, Selma. These are all movies that are talking about now. Mm-hmm. And thank you. And I guess when I read that, my takeaway was something happened a couple of weeks ago. We had a screening of The Apprentice, which we'll talk about soon.
Yes.
And there was a filmmaker there named Ivy Mirapol who'd made a documentary about Roy Cohn, who I play, called Bully, Coward, Victim, an amazing documentary. She's the granddaughter of Ethel and Julius Rosenberg, who Roy Cohn sent to the electric chair. Ethel was recently exonerated. She was innocent. She made a very empathic documentary examining this person, holding him to account, but also applying empathy. And in my feeling when I met her after the screening was, wow, what we do is not a game. This is real. There are real people on the other end of this watching us on television, watching us in a theater. And so when I read that about the Murdochs, who I feel great empathy for, what they're going through as a family, having inhabited an adjacent world to that for 7 years. My feeling is, I take that really seriously. I've been accused of taking it seriously. I do take it really seriously.
Just like a salmon would. Just like a salmon.
Just like a salmon.
In a lot of ways.
That's right.
When we come back, we're going to see a clip from the movie The Apprentice. Jeremy Strong is with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. Agent Green, what led you to believe that you were denied a lease at Trump Properties based on your race?
Well, not only did the newspaper advertise...
That's Walter, DOJ. He runs the show.
I saw 3 Caucasian couples approved before me.
Objection, speculation.
Mr. Cohn.
How can you say for sure they were Caucasian?
Please allow Agent Green to answer the question.
I've seen Puerto Ricans whiter than my tush after a long winter.
Your Honor.
That is Jeremy Strong as Roy Cohn in The Apprentice, which is available to rent or buy. And I have to say, I love this movie. I feel like it really helped me understand Donald Trump, who I obviously spend a lot of time thinking about. I think this character is Roy Cohn. You played him. I feel like I don't know anything about the guy other than what I saw from you, but I feel like you just nailed it. I really do. I mean, it's so interesting how much of Trump's philosophy came from him. And then to have Trump's friends so active about trying to squash this movie and trying to make sure no one sees it.
The movie is really a character study. And the movie is not at all, I think, what people expect it's going to be, but it is an origin story. And in a way, it's about the birth of a worldview. And a lot of Trump's worldview and a lot of his ideology and a lot of his playbook comes from Roy Cohn.
You even see it in that clip where they say, oh, yeah, there's black people. How do you know they're Caucasian? How do you know, like, what are you just denying things that are right in front of your face?
He had a sort of credo, which the movie explores, which is always attack, deny everything, and never admit defeat. And when you learn that, it becomes a sort of dog whistle that you hear all the time now. He is incalculably influential historical figure. Kai Bird, who wrote the Oppenheimer book, is working on the Roy Cohn book now. That's how important a historical figure he is to our world now. And I think, there was something that a journalist named Sidney J. Harris said, that history repeats itself, but in such cunning disguise that we never detect the resemblance until the damage is done. And we sometimes live in a country that has historical amnesia, and this movie is an attempt to look at something in our past to help us understand how we got to where we are now so that we're not condemned to repeat it.
What was the most interesting thing you learned about one or both of these guys when you were working on this film?
Well, Roy was a vicious guy, a pretty ruthless guy. He was also a brilliant lawyer and a conundrum. You know, a lot of what Roy was, and I think Trump, had to do with, you know, what they call narcissistic injury. As a child, narcissistic wounds, where the world doesn't mirror you in a way that makes you feel special necessarily. And so, it's certainly in Roy Cohn's case, he did a lot to compensate for that, to elevate himself and to seek power. Winning was his only moral measure. But he also loved frogs, stuffed frogs, frog figurines, toy frogs. He had a room full of frog plushies, basically. And it's very strange.
Yeah, very strange, yeah.
And I could never, you know, it's like it's like a, you know, mystery wrapped in a riddle wrapped in an enigma.
Would it be a good idea for all your friends and family to give you frogs for the holidays this year as a little gift?
You know what? That's in the rearview mirror. I made this movie like a year ago. So
You're in the you're working on the Bruce Springsteen biopic right now, right? That's gonna be. Well, it's great to have you here. Congratulations on the Golden Globe nomination.
Thank you.
Recommend you see The Apprentice. You can rent it, you can buy it. Jeremy Strong, everybody. We'll be back with Monica Barbaro.